How's everybody doing thus far?
Fine.
Okay, I'd just like to say it's a pleasure to be here in Reading, and I'd like to thank Grandmaster Dillman for inviting me. I've been looking at you guys, and fantastic. I don't know if there's anything I could do that might entertain you, but I'm going to try to give you an idea of what my system is about. The system is known as Sugar-Roo. Sugar, which is the nickname given to me at birth, and Roo, which means system style, blah, blah, blah. And what I have done is, my foundation is jiu-jitsu, but I've incorporated karate, boxing, aikido, gymnastics, weaponry, a little tap dancing, breaking, you know, all that kind of stuff. And I've created what's known as urban streetology self-defense, which is basically learning how to utilize various elements of the street to your advantage. So, I have nothing planned. I'm just going to go off the top of my head. This is my assistant, Pai Hohan Soken. And let me see, before I get started. I'll tell you a little bit about myself right quick. You know, I tour internationally doing seminars, conducting seminars, and doing demonstrations and things like that. And, I've been seen on TV here, there. I work with different fighters like Tyson, Holyfield. I work with Ray and Ali, and different fighters serving as a physical consultant and personal security. But anyway, we're going to get busy. I brought some of my kitchen utensils here, and I eat a lot of strange food. What we'll do first, we'll just get loose, do a few rolls and things, because I'm not exactly warmed up. I'm not making any excuses, but I've been on tour for the last, 3 months, in and out of town, and pull a muscle, trying to let my body rest, but just won't do that. So just demonstrate a few control falls. Things go Jay. What we do to get loose. Do this before I go to work in the morning, And the thing about it, my wife, she does it too. She see the dog. Over here. This guy, one time he came to the dojo, tripped in the door, and I couldn't hardly walk, but I'll let Grandpa try it if I let him do it. Kneel down there, you know I'm not that young. Actually, these are the things my son carries to school in New York, you know.
What's the point?
Huh?
What's the point?
The dog walks with the knife in his mouth when he goes out, you know. Okay. You know what this is? High black belt. Good. All right. I've been noted for my hand speed on many occasions, and not that I'm going to do a seminar now, but basically all the techniques that you have learned, whether it's the arnis or whether it's small circle jiu-jitsu or karate or what have you. One of the key factors to perfecting your speed is learning to relax. Project the move before it even happens. I see the knife. The move is there. Okay? Matter of fact, take that one. It's too dark.
People keep alert in case a weapon flies.
Okay.
Everybody's sitting around.
Control the knife.
Keep your head and eyes on everything.
Yes! Yes.
Whoa!
I'm going to slow some things down. Go ahead. Just Go ahead. So, move here. Bring him up. Just focus. And just check this out. Now with the matches, I'll just cut his circulation off. Put him to sleep. And just finish him off. Let's. It's a rope, but I mean, it depends. I have a rope here. Take the rope, he's gonna attack. But first, before he attacks, you know what I'm gonna do? Put a knot in it. Did you see that? Okay. So as he comes, and he chokes, grabs. First thing I want to do, strike. Take him here, tie him here, and then I'll walk with the pressure. Right here, finger on the throat, and just walk with me. Or I'll put this like this, check this out. Tell him you go that way, I'm going here. You take that. That's up. I worked with Mike Tyson a few times, and he asked me one day, he said, excuse me, Shaker, does that really work? I said, yeah, well, Mike, you know, come on, you know, want to throw a hook punch or something? Yeah, because I hit really hard, really hard. So I told him, he threw the hook punch and I tapped him, bing, bing. I didn't mean to sweep him, I swept him. I thought he was going to catch his balance. Hit his head on the table, the juice fell on him. And I said, Mike, you all right? I said, wow, that was ludicrous. Oh, this is not really my field, but I just got inspired today, so so change. Because I don't want to bore you, but comes with something. Okay. So take it. Got that split from James Brown. Okay, you got a gun again. I'm walking down the street, regular New York guy, minding my business, not bothering anybody. Don't you move, put your hands up. Yo, my brother. Put your hands up, don't you move. So the hands up, so the first thing I do is move right here. Then I want to go over his head and finish him. in Brooklyn. Okay. I'm you. You gonna Brooklyn? Oh, well, this is what would happen if you went.
Hey, girl.
Excuse me, big boy.
You are looking good to me.
You know my name?
No, baby, what is your name?
Starts with the S. It's Smacky.
Hey, what's wrong with you? I tried to tell you, you gonna put your hands up. Wait, put your hands up. It's gonna
told you.
Say.
Don't. So, you know, she gets tired of him playing.
No, what else? Say.
You do that dance. I want to get 2 volunteers. This is the last thing I'm going to do. Haven't done it in a while, but I just need someone to hold some knives for me. You can kneel right here, please. Right, move up a little bit. As a matter of fact, go right here. Right there. Good. Can I get one more person? Okay. Whatever you do, don't move.
Don't kill him.
Okay, come over here. Don't kill me. Come right here. Yes. I want you to hold this here. I want you to hold that there. I want you to get close to him. Hold that there. I'm going to try to fly over this. Haven't done it in a while. But besides flying over it, it's a little awkward because I have this baton on. Okay. So I have to get up over this. Okay. They make a little real. I'm going to take my shirt off. So if I miss, it's little plastic. Don't think. I don't know how I got there. Saying, oh, that's how he flies, huh? Okay. Would you believe I used to weigh 310 pounds?
No, sir.
I didn't. But if you said, yeah, I was going to sell the formula.
Ooh. Just don't move.
Tough kill. What do you think? Coach Chapin.
Church like you wouldn't believe. He goes all over the country teaching seminars, and I just want you to give him a good round of applause. Rick Money. Today's class is going to be on energetics and how the energy flows in the body, and we'll try to give you a couple examples of how to transfer that energy and the effects that it will have on other people. I want you to understand that I am speaking to a wide variety of people here. There's lots of different belt ranks, and I'm going to have to try to keep this uniform, so if I insult your intelligence, please bear with me, and if it's new to you, We'll answer questions later, okay? So we're trying to make it for everyone. The first thing that I have to do to you is to teach you how the body works. So I'm going to give you a few rules that you can use to apply to all of your pressure point work. I need one gentleman just for a second. One of the things that people are faced with is they don't want to get into a monkey see, monkey do scenario. In other words, they want to know how to choose options. If I grab hold of one part of the body, how do I choose the next target? Instead of just repeating something that I've seen in the past or something my instructor told me to do. So hopefully I'm going to give you a little science that you can apply to any form or to any style of martial arts that's represented here today. The first thing that you have to understand about the energetics of the body is there are points that are just allergic to one another. So you have to find out how to locate them. I'm going to give you a few general rules. And the first one is that the front of the body is allergic to the back of the body. So I want you to remember that when you look at any acupressure book, you will see the yin side and the yang side, the negative side and the positive side. So when I look at this individual, if he puts his hands up like this and turns his feet out like he has them positioned, and you are looking at him, what you see represented here is the negative side. Consequently, when he turns around, you see the positive side. So one selection that you would use would be the front to the rear. So that is one thing that you should keep in your mind on selection of points. Now let's turn him back around this way. And if I had a sword and I came running out here with him and I hit him dead center, and we cut him from top to bottom, one side is allergic to the other. Understand that that only applies when you're making that connection. The front is allergic to the back when you are comparing them. The left is allergic to the right when you are comparing them. This will give you some examples in your qoute form of movements that go like this or like this. Left to right, front to back. There is another comparison that you can make where the cut comes this way. So that the top is positive and the bottom is negative. And there's another one of your examples of going high and low. Understood? So now, if we numbered these quadrants, where I quadrisected this guy, from 1, 2, 3, 4, if I wanted to do sectional damage, I would deal in this quadrant, grabbing here and attacking here. If I wanted to make the damage more severe, I would choose to here. I can make it worse by going here, and I can make it worse by going here. So in levels of severity, it would go 1, 2, 3, 4. You have seen this done, where the back of the hand would be positive and the front would be negative. And if I push this here, it is mildly uncomfortable. If I push it over here one quadrant away, it becomes more uncomfortable. Guess what happens when it comes down here? It's worse. If I try to force it into this quadrant, it is even worse yet. So you understand a selection of points and how that is demonstrated. Now let's say that we are dealing with this quadrant. And I want to stay here because this is all that he has given me. And I have to make a decision on what I'm going to do with this hand. Another part of the art is demonstrated in our patch. And you will see the inside of this being the 5-element theory. I speak to you in Chinese terms because that is where my study has led me. If I look at this hand in quadrant 1, I see a fire point and I see a metal point. The fire meridians run down the back of the arm with the heart and the small intestine. There's also a triple heater here and a pericardium here, all 4 of which are fire elements. The 2 on the top, being the lung and the large intestine, are metal points. So consequently, in the study of Chinese medicine, fire burns metal. So I choose a very active fire point being here, one that we have worked on earlier today, and I choose an allergic point here, this one being a metal point. So if my science holds true, then fire will burn the metal. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to connect this particular point to this one. And then you'll see the results, how it shorts out the body. Now that is done with just a simple shorting and a small circle here of allergic points. As you can very quickly surmise, if I take this, put that short on, and move it across quadrant, it hurts more. If I bring it down, I will short it worse. Understood? It's an example of the 5-element theory. All right? Now, how many of you guys have seen the bendable wrist with the shorting of the point? That is another application of energetics. In such that the energy of the body flows up into this wrist, and if he tightens it up, makes a fist, it is hard to bend. But if I apply the shorting device here on this fire point, and at the same time touch the metal point, it becomes easy to bend. In fact, I can almost do it with one finger. So again, that part of the science applies. Now let's apply one further part. If that holds true in this section of the arm, I should be able to do it working up the arm. And you have all faced the situation of where you had to bend an elbow. And the situation is you touch here, and it bends. That being again an example of heart 3 burning, this is a fire point, being heart 3, burning this metal point. So if I step in here and rack it up and put him in pain. Let's understand one thing. These are great for seminars, and they're good examples. Occasionally, you run into a situation where you find someone who does not want to cooperate. So you get up there and say, we're going to do this example, and the first thing he does is roll his elbow down to hide the point. And he moves the metal one around to make it difficult for you to get in. You need to disrupt the energy. So he rolls the elbow and tightens it up and says, now bend my elbow up, and it becomes difficult. Well, your qoute form has a little movement in it like this, right? Remember this part? It's a little disruption. It's also the fact that this burn, this isn't a problem, but it's also connected to this. So if I rub this, now the strength of his arm is gone again. So the example that I gave you this time was metal cuts the wood point. So not only do I have this option for here, I have others that I can go underneath. So that gives me further combinations. What advantage does this give the martial artist? Well, by me knowing what releases what and what sets up points, it tells me where he will be. So if I get a simple push, and I have this shorting, I can short it out. I know where he will be. He will be on the floor from the fire burns the metal. Now I have combinations that I can strike with here and here, or the break, of course, to the leg. If I choose to roll it over, I can short him up. Now I have a fire burns metal short again. What did I tell you earlier about metal cuts wood, right? Where is it? Perfect spot. There. So again, that is another part that we apply to our science and study. And now I want to get into another one. Everybody is faced with this situation. You as an individual must be able to generate enough energy or enough force to overcome the protective energy or aura around this individual. And I'll give you a simple example. If I step up here and take both fingers and place them on these 2 points. For those of you that are familiar with this, it's a small intestine 16. It is a death strike. Short them 2 points or strike them with power and energetics, it kills the body. So I chose those 2 points and I have pressed them. But you notice that he did not die. really ruins your seminar to point like this. My point being, I have to generate enough energy somehow to overcome the protective energy of this body. Pressure points allow me an entrance into that energy. If you see a diamond cutter go to work, first thing he does is look for the cavity. He looks for an entrance into what he wants to do. And that is what this study allows you to do. It allows you to find a way to that energy source. The rules I applied earlier that you must follow in order to make your path an easy one. All right, now, I want to show you techniques that we have done and worked on with an application of energy. One of the most difficult things to do is to look at an individual and say he has energy, or he has chi flow, or he has the ability to project ki. Right? It's kind of hard to stand an individual up and say he has it and he doesn't. So how do you do that? And again, the most important question is, how do you develop that in yourself so that you can do it and you can generate it? Right? There is a vast untapped energy source in your body. It will allow you to do things that you would seem to think to be superhuman. You have all heard of the incidences where the child was trapped under the tractor and the mother ran up there and got the tractor and threw it out of the way and picked the child up and ran to the hospital. That was a little abnormal, right? But that energy force is there and it's able to be utilized. And we're going to give you a few examples if I get my partner Tom to assist me. George asked me to do this off of one of the tapes that I had made in Texas. So we're going to try to duplicate it for you here today.
Real bored.
That couldn't have been fake, right? It's not real hollow to me. So if we hold it where I smack, I want you to understand it's truly a board. I want to, okay, this is going to sound simple, but bear with me, and you try it on your own, you will be astounded by the results. Here, 2 inches below the navel is the kanbien, the source of your energy. You will bring that up in a wave form and project it. Now, how are you going to get it up there and how are you going to project it? One of the simplest ways to begin is the unbendable arm, where you've held the arm out and the guy tries to bend it, and it's real easy to do. And the next thing you do is you focus from a well of energy or a well of water coming from your navel up through your arm, and it focuses on the wall. Now the arm becomes about 10 times harder to bend. The trouble with that is you have to be able to get it up quickly. If somebody's beating on your head, you need to do something. Right? It's time to go get the water, right? All right, so now what I want you to do is to picture that happening. And it comes up and comes through. And the wave starts and comes through. Ready? So it comes up and it comes through. It's through the board. There is an energy projection. And it starts here. Again, oh, nice stained one with a knot. So, this is my order. I want you to practice doing these because you have to project energy or the boards won't break. So you come ready. So you put it here and see how good the board is? That's an impact. Now with energy. Up. Again. That's a good one. That was ridiculous. There you go. That's a good board. Not. I want you to focus that energy from here up and through your target. What if the energy could be used from anywhere? What if it came through these forms that you see in your Tai Chi form, where it comes here and through like this? The wave starts low. What about the ones where the form is dropped from above and the hand was up and it comes through here and smashes through? Those can be used in combat as well, right? Now, how many would you like to be smacked behind the head with one of those? The equivalency of one board is like about one rib. So that gives you an idea of those impacts. You notice that there is not this type of a martial arts strike. Boom! That there are simple waveforms. Okay? Now, that sounds good, but how can I apply that to the martial art form? Right? Where is Ian? Ha! My buddy! I will give you a couple of examples of how to do this. This one, this will be light on. We've done this already. This point is a metal point, and we had discussed it earlier. This is the fire point that burns it. Now, if I grab this like this and turn around, boom, we would understand the effect and everyone knows what happens, right? What if I can take that energy, concise it, and pull it down into a small area and concentrate it, much like a laser beam? So now I hold and place my arm on here, positioning that energy so that the effect drops in. Now, for those of you that had a right angle to see that, you notice that there was no strike and there was no hit. But there is a sincere burning that he feels. All of that allows you certain things in the martial arts. If I can use that energy projection to put him where I want him to be, so he grabs hold of me, I shake it, move it to here, I have an energy projection. And this time I must come over the top and down toward that knee. Understanding, of course, that this is the most vulnerable quadrant for what I'm about to do. So I will focus that energy into this quadrant. I will use the shorting power that I have here of the allergic points. I will use my energetics to proceed into it. So the technique comes, and I turn it over, and it comes here, over, and he falls. So the energetic proceeds down toward that knee. If the same thing applies here, and you roll him off here, the same roll occurs. As can be done here. Now what we are looking for is a scenario where we can disrupt the energy. We want to stop that wave of projection that is coming toward me to be disrupted in such a manner that I can enter the cavity. From the simple push that comes in, this disrupts the cavity. This disrupts the energy. It is being directed directly at me. I set the angle differently, so it's 45 degrees, so the energy is disrupted. As it turns, I choose to grab. Here allows me to go to work. I have combinations that I can choose. Some to stun, some to knock out, some to kill. The options are yours to control now that you have the shorts. The energy projection can be done several ways. Some are close, some are concise. Some are in here, some are quick. Some are used in what you have seen as Tai Chi or Kung Fu forms, where the energies load and deliver. Right? You have all seen those? So what we will do is get Ian to stand here. I'm going to use that same energetics. I'm going to bring the wave from down deep and make the roll. So that it will come. I'm just going to tap the projection. So the energy comes from here, it comes up and recirculates. It looks like this. Now, what looks like a simple punch doesn't feel that way to Ian. Right? You will feel that internal all the way down your spine, all the way to the kidneys, right? It sucks all the wind out of you and actually taps into your energy source and pulls it out and makes you weak. And it looks like a simple stop, right? I want you to understand that that is the same energy and same wave that was used to smash the boards. Just used a little bigger volume. Now let me give you another one. If I like it, I think Ian paid his dues. Why don't y'all give him a hand? You have to have simple tools to use in the development of this. Here is a simple scenario that you can use to use that energy and bring it up. In your mind, I want you to focus that you have a water balloon in your hand. And we all know what happens when those water balloons when they bust. So this time, I want you to keep it in your hand. And think that you have something about the size of a tennis ball in your hand. And it's a water balloon. And then you start it from here, and you pull it up, and you put it where you want it. And as that water balloon comes close to the skin, It just splatters. And you're just busting it. And everybody can visualize that, right? And everybody see him getting all wet and water going everywhere. I think that's funny. We just do the same thing with the old thing with egg. And I can't remember which movie it was. They took it up here and there was a live egg and just busted all over. So Porky's 2 or something like that. Let's suppose that I have the water balloon. And now I'm going to put it on here. And he can stand, anybody stands with him on the chest. I just want him to explain to you what the water balloon feels like. So I've got my little water balloon, and I pull it up and go. So he now feels the water balloon somewhere around here.
Yeah.
Again, it's an example of energy. But you take that to the dojo, work with it on the boards, work with it on an impact tester or a punching bag. And just an impact tester works great because you can realize what it was before and afterwards. It sounds like a simple game, but if it works, use it. All right, everybody understand that part? Okay, now, let's suppose that the hand reaches for you or the guy grabs you on the hand and you do that again. Same effect, right? You just pull it up and put it on him. So I pull it up. Good for you. Notice this. I squeeze. All of the energy in the arm is now stagnated at this point. So he has no power in the arm at all. So to get that recirculated, all you have to do is to get it moving. Now, let me have you. When you are building a repertoire of tricks or fighting techniques that you use, things that you're going to bet your life on, it is always nice to have some of those that will work when things aren't going right. You know, some of the fights that you're in, the other guy hits back. I mean, real inconvenience. You have to have some techniques that you can use that will work anytime. And I call those a shotgun effect. There are some people go to war and they have they're a marksman and they are snipers and they pinpoint where they're going to hit. Other people use the artillery, right? So now, you have got to have certain things that you can do that'll work. And you just have to use those in conjunction with what's happening. So if a guy punches at you with this hand, let's use this hand, and you brush off, right? That is a defense. And we can attack in, we can get all of our points. We can set them up off of here. We can set them up off of here. And we can be specific about our targets and our knockouts. One of the situations that you face is he can see that being done to him. And he has time to react. If you are quicker than he is, you have no problem. But if you ain't, you're going to develop a real problem. Let's suppose that we take it out of his line of sight. This gentleman steps and punches, and he can't see this. He cannot see this hand at all. Right? He has lost sight of the weapon. I have chosen the points that I need. I took them off the brush. I took the connecting point here. So I have some options that he will find unpleasant. So I connect here. I connect back to here. Can he see either of the blows? This one was shielded by his own arm into this cluster off this connecting point. This one went around and he couldn't see it because it rose through the back and connected. Again, I chose an allergic point connected to this wrist. Let's suppose we try it off the front. The hand comes here, and I go to here. This connected one. Does this look familiar on the form? So I use a brush off, the connecting point to the allergic point, the knockout to the top. Off of these. Look familiar? The energy transfer that you've seen propel them across the floor, or propel them to the floor, or numb their arm, feels real good right about here. It's got some real exciting effects right here too. And people say, well, how good is this point? Let's try something. We hold hands on our wrist, and I rub this. Do you find this to be uncomfortable? How do you find it to be now? the connecting point. You will see this done a lot of ways. The connecting points. Choose your target. And give you another example of this one. I told you of the quadrants, the front, 4. They also work at the back. If I was going to number them, 5, 6, 7, 8. So now, as this is uncomfortable, if I add this, it becomes real uncomfortable. So I chose another quadrant away, and I chose a connecting point. Let's make it even worse. That burnt a little better than normal for another reason. If I told you to look deep into the circle again, there would be a 5-element series, right? My little left hand chose the metal point. My right hand chose the wood point, so I could make the connection. That is hard to demonstrate, and people find it hard to visualize that your body energetics can be disrupted that way. Let me give you an easy example. It's called a deltoid test that anyone can do. You put this arm up like this and tell how strong he is, and you push this down and he's strong. And you push this down and he's got strength. If I choose the connecting point to the other side and push this down, he loses all of his strength. But if I release it, his strength will come back up and he will be powerful again. But these points are allergic and they don't like each other. So in your combat study, if you will look to those, it will give you the science that you need to work. Whether it be from the simple grab and what I have, fire and metal. So I know what I need to cause pain. And those two are exceptionally good for pain. So they give me the setups that I need to get to the wood points. So there are my connection and wherein they lie. I also have things that go this way and come across to here, then in. And that is not one that you ought to practice and use the demos. People hate you for weeks. The simple one's off this way, and focusing and down and cutting the energy and choosing your targets. Now I say choose your targets. I want you to be aware of what you have just done and where you have placed this guy. And I don't care which type of roll-off that you use or which grasp that you use, whether it be high on the collar or roll on the wrist. Once you set this and you turn him and you have stepped into this cavity, you have entered. Now my combination of points that I hold in my wrist give me options that'll make his day miserable. Notice what I am doing. So you say, how many combinations do you have off of fire burns metal? 1,000. How many do you have off of metal cuts wood? And how many knockouts can you generate very quickly? A simple study, a little bit of time in the book, taking this 5-element theory, taking these cross angles and quadrants, makes you a very deadly person quickly. Understand that you will have to develop a knowledge by working with your instructors, of a little hands-on experience. This is not the way to do it. Say, well, that's supposed to be BAM! Connected to that. How was that? That's not the way to do that. All you have to do is say, all right, this is supposed to be a fire burns metal. Did that work? Did you notice an effect? Okay, that was about 1% of my energy. Now, how was that? Well, that was about 2%. And he's starting to look bad. And I go, hey, what do you think about that? And the head shakes. Well, that was about 35, and he looks dead. So we have to back off. It's somewhere between 3 and 35. And start narrowing down. You have to deal with the bottom working up. First, you start with the legs buckling, then you dizzy them a little bit. And those that you look at in your charts and say, well, you know, this is supposed to control the action to the heart. Well, that's probably not the one you ought to start beating on. He's got 2 kidneys, blast one of them first. You got a spare, right? So, from this roll-off, and I've stepped in, my combinations. One of the quickest, of course, being metal cuts wood, all but a 20 in the back of the head. Right at the base of the cranial skull, right in here. An easy shot. Anybody can pull that one off. It has a dizzying effect. One of the best ways to check that is Just simply have him look forward, step behind him at a 45 degrees, taking this hand this direction, tap it, and see if he gets dizzy. See if his eyes jump up and down. Make sure he's not wearing contacts, you gotta go get him. So just tap him. If that loosens him up, so there is a final answer to metal cuts wood. That gives you one. Those of you that are familiar with acupuncture charts and acupressure understand that the earth meridians are the stomach and the spleen. What is the devastating effect of the earth is called the earthquake. When you strike those meridians, the body quivers and shakes. The one that I don't want you to practice with is stomach 9. You will look at any acupuncture book and say, well, that's a deadly point. Yeah, we probably won't be beating on it either. So don't be sticking your fingers in here because it really reacts well. That's one that you should leave alone. The other one is small intestine 16, which lies here. It's not an ideal point to be sticking your fingers in because it causes a shock to the body. It goes right straight to the heart. It's not a good idea. So leave those alone. The triple heater points that you're going to find around the head are going to affect the heat and the regulation in the upper part of the body. You strike them and get them fired up, and the guy's going to pass out. You will have the heat rising. You don't want to do that. Now, under a controlled atmosphere, you can use those points to control the human and make him jump or make him move. You know what the old sit-ins? Everybody remember the sit-ins? Just sit down across your legs. This is a sit-in. We're not going anywhere. We're going to sit right here. Let's choose those points that I just described to you. I'm going to step up from behind him and touch them. I will choose those stomach 9, small intestine 16, and gallbladder 20. Now don't duplicate this. Just understand the effects. I'm going to just hold him with that and watch him react. As I touch, it shorts the body and raises it very quickly. And it feels like his head is going to pop off. It's immediate, it's quick, and it fires both legs up. In fact, you will do just about anything you can to get away from that. Right?
Yep.
Don't you like the way we treat farmers? Understand by the effects of what you have seen and how they work. One of the things that everyone has always heard is, if you can't stand, you can't fight. Right? So one of the things that we should do is take out the legs. Let me give you just an easy way to find a very good point. And that point is on the legs and on the thighs. You will see kickboxers frail into each other with round kicks to the thighs. My Thai people are famous for that. And they take that impact. Right? The easy way to locate that point is to put your hands down. This is one of them idiot-proof things. You can't mess this up. Right there they are. Right? There's points. You got 2 of them. One on each side. So he located his for me by standing there. And there it is. Now it's pretty durable. If I stood here and started kicking on him, he can take this. This is not bad at all. Right? Now, those of you that know the size that hit the same point 3 times, it becomes weak, right? So we don't want to do that. I will change size. I'll break the other leg. No. If I started beating on that, you would understand the effect. I want to show you something else. How many fighters you see stand like this ready to go? So he gets in his fighting stance, and he's ready to go. I want to take that leg out. I need an allergic point to ruin that leg for me. So I choose one, and it goes like this. Now I'm not going to kick him, because I don't need to. Here lies the point, right there. I'm going to connect it to this one, and strike it. Now the leg's gone. And that's just with my fingertip touch. Now I can make this demo a lot more dramatic by standing here in a fighting situation and go, wham! And the leg's gone. Because the metal cut the wood. And you would find that very easily. Now let's just suppose what would happen if we were in a combat situation and I tapped that foot like this. What's the first thing he's going to do with that leg if he is still standing? I know what I'd do. I'll put this baby back here in the closet. This thing is starting to smart. Right? And it doesn't have any strength now. For those of you that got smacked on the arm earlier today, boy, I ain't any strength in my arm. And it takes a while for that energy to get flowing again. He's sitting back there on it now, and he just touched it. Well, he just brought the other one up here. He can't stand on that one. Now, only what I'm going to do this side. Now, he's going to stand on it. Both of them are gone. Connect and attack. What if you were knocked to the floor? Can you do the same thing? What if I'm on the floor and this big gorilla stands in front of me? I need connecting points. The same thing that applied to the arm applies to the leg. I'll just change points and slide in here and go down here. I chose the connecting point on the inside to the one on the upper thigh. And it takes him away. Now stand back up. Turn the other leg for me. Boy, this is great. You can talk these farmers into the house. Let's suppose that he didn't give me that. Can I do it in reverse? Let's choose the points here, and let's take this one and take him down. Now that's a lot easier than standing here beating on him, kicking on him, right? I'll just choose those points of the body which are allergic to one another. Now, certain other things that can be done with pressure points. Certain points of the body are positive and are called yang. They tend to open the body up. If you were struck on a yang point, the body opens this way. If you choose a yin point, you invite it in or it bends toward in the fetal position. It is an inviting or gathering or a buckling of that energy. You see examples of that when the arms is turned this way and I strike here. Notice how the head flies back and the arms fly back and you proceed forward like this. I chose a yang point and it opened the body up. If you choose the ones on the inside, they invite. I strike here, this comes forward in the fetal position, inviting me to go inside. Right? Now let's suppose I want him to jump. I want him to come in. So he steps and punches with his hand, and I choose those points. I bring him in. The greater the application of your energetics to those points will determine the rate in which he advances. So he steps and punches. I've got him. This invited him enough that I could go. Just enough to pull him off balance and cause him to quiver, so that I could go in. It also takes away the use of the arm, which is a handy thing in case that didn't get him. We have options. I want you to realize again that there are several of you here today who have been fortunate enough to experience those energetics and how they proceed into the body. There is a drastic difference of when the points are shorted and the energy flows. You can attest to that, I hope. Good. Keep that in mind. Every technique that you do, the energetics should flow. You should visualize that in your mind. Use that quadrangle theory to help you in your selection of points. Use any acupressure book to help you to choose from one to the other. You will develop thousands of combinations. All right? I spoke today in a manner trying to make it as simple as possible to bring that science down so that a wide variety of people could understand. Some of the advanced instructors in the room, I'm sure, would like to jump in here and add about 400% to my speech. And some of the beginners are still confused. So understand that's what happens at a general seminar. And we will entertain questions if you'd like and get specific on some of these that anybody would like to ask. Where are these 5 points?
When you talk about the 5 points.
The 5-element theory. Okay. If I give you an example, fire would burn metal.
Okay, we're making it a social, so we don't want everybody talking martial arts all night. We're talking about the weather, baseball, football, anything you want, but we don't want to make it a martial arts night. We're going to make it a fun night. We'll have music there, and there's decorations, and all the food you can eat. You're going to have a good time. When you leave here, the highway out front.
That is another form of harness that we call it whirling. But there, that form, if you see, you hit the air all the time. See? You just do this because this is a straight line. You see it? You want one that will move, that is hit behind, it will stay. This is more longer. Like, do the two things. Now, this is a rubber stick, you know, you could do this, we call it twirling stick, see? You move it, see, you do like that. You could twist these sticks. Okay? That's a good practice. Doing this is we call this the twirling, you know, the 6-count drill, you know, you do like this, huh? You move it. All here, if it's right, the tongue is the hand all the time. See? See that? Any hand that move, yes, it's the knuckle. The tongue is always the knuckle. Every time that you move, you know. You pick up the stick too. Yeah, this is what that is also, yeah, that's you like that. You kick it, yeah, you move it here, you kick the hand, okay? And you could do this with your right hand, with that. The left hand or the right hand, this is move here. Here, the movement that you do like that, this is this arm, this is a truyen. See, this is a lock here. You know, this is a lock here also. See, this is lock here also. This is lock here also. See, the hole, this is lock here. See, the center, the hole, this is center lock. See, this is 2-finger lock. This is lock here. This is lock here. This is lock here. This is thumb lock. This is lock here. This is lock here. This is lock here. This is lock here. This is through. See, this is lock. This is luck. 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 This is true. I'm back again. Come on. Oh,
Panther Production sells videotapes in the magazines, and Sugar Croson has 6 tapes available through them. So if you are interested in some of his stuff, I wanted to mention it. Remember, there'll be more of this the first Saturday in April. Jim Black's camp, the State of the Arts. There'll be at least 200 people there, so if you miss out, it's your loss. Now Professor Wally J is going to show you his a pretzel. He puts people in one hole, another hole, ties them up, and they can't move anything with one finger.
Grab me one hand. Both hands. First thing I do, I put a lock under the head. Oh, sorry. Okay.
Now break all
Hey.
Come over here, just with one finger.
Oh.
Thank you.
Yes, good. Imagine somebody tries to mount him at the airport.
Bruce Lee can do this holding an egg in his hand. It's not clenching your fist, it's through your alignment that you punch it first. And it really, if you throw right in, as soon as you hit, disconnect. So it lifts the person up. It's a straight. You throw all the energy at one time.